Good afternoon. Kim Ross, candidate for Casuarina Ward in the October elections. So, having a little bit break. I've been trying to drop flies and do door knocking in the rain. I know, it's a bit of a hard task, but I've managed to speak to 5 or 6 people right down in my southeast corner of Casuarina Ward. So because the ward is kind of narrow and long, I'm kind of up here in this part, and I've been connecting this afternoon down here in this space. I've been really wanting to do that, and the rain was not going to stop me, so I'm doing a little bit and then I'll come back. But I wanted to just share something quickly about youth mental health, because I've talked today about how I used to live in Narre South, and the impact that having a neighbour go out of their way to reach out to a very tired new mum, how that has stayed with me for 27 years, a simple act of kindness. And you just never know how what you're going to do is going to impact on everyone else around you. So that is a beautiful, positive story. I also felt moved to share with you something else that happened when I was living at Narre South, because when I drove past my street, and it also happened the other day when I drove past my old street, this memory, it pops up. This memory just doesn't go. So I thought could be a benefit to me sharing this. So where I was living, someone, and if you've recently been impacted severely by mental health, you might not want to listen to this. If this disturbs you, please reach out to your GP, the psychologist, or in Lifeline. I don't tend to do trigger warning alerts. I think sometimes when we talk about mental health, it's almost like we need to be prepared that there'll be something vulnerable shared that you may find upsetting if you're having difficulties with your mental health. So I'm just putting that out there, because this story is about a youth who lived in our street who died by suicide, and it threw the street, and it was part of it at the time. There was like a whole lot of suicides happening at schools, or simply a whole lot, and it brought attention from a high level of government that this was happening in the area, and certain things were put in place. And I just thought how sad it was that it needed to be part of a crisis of a lot of death by suicides for something to happen, and how vulnerable and alone, trigger warning for myself, this young person must have been. And it happened at home when his family were home, when their family were home. So it's really scary if you're a parent of a child who is having mental health difficulties. And the trauma for this family and the community, for our street, for the school, was very real. Very real. So when I talk about making youth a priority, because often we know they're the loneliest group in the community, aside from there's a particular, as you get older, a particular age, but youth, if not the most, are equal to the most loneliest and most vulnerable members of our population. And it's important that whoever comes into council, and I hope it's me, but that we recognise them and what they need from us as community leaders right now. They need us to be aware of their needs, to acknowledge them, to include them, to make them feel they belong, so they don't feel so isolated. One of the issues with our mental health services, both locally from local organisations and more generally, is that, one, there's insufficient in that we don't have enough rebated sessions, and that's a fact. The evidence points to more than 10 sessions people need, and unfortunately the federal government is stuck on 10 Medicare sessions. So there's not enough. We don't get enough. It's also fractured, and particularly when youth are moving from a child service to an adult service, they get lost. There are so many gaps that they can drop in between. I've heard of and I've had mental health practitioners say to clients, oh, can't see you anymore, you're over 18 and I don't see over 18s, and just stop their service. So things like that aren't good enough, and I'm calling out for all community leaders to stand up for our youth and to stand up for our mental health, and to recognise that we are in a mental health crisis, and we need to work together on a range of strategies to address that. Okay, thanks for tuning in. The rain has eased off a little bit, so I'm back off again to do some more door knocking and letterbox dropping. And don't forget, if you see me around in my colours, or someone who's helping me in my colours, please stop and say hi. It's all about connecting with you guys. Okay, till next time, bye.